What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back. And we are here to talk about Mortal Kombat, the long-awaited movie since, I don't even know, 20 to 30, almost 30 years. It is a lot of nostalgia for everybody, especially as 90s and 80s kids. A lot of nostalgia going on, and it's taking us back to revisit the old movie from the 90s, which we all know is a lot of cheese and it's not like necessarily a great movie, but it's just mainly entertaining for a lot of us because it was the first adaptation of the film from the video game. And we know there's not really a lot of success when it comes to making video games into movies. I mean, we all know how the bunch of fails that we've had over the years. But then with this new trailer that came out, it has this different tone to it. It's not really a lot of cheese like in the 90s, but it's more of a darker and a serious tone, which I think it could give it a lot of potential to be almost not a fully realistic, but at least give it a more realistic tone to it. And we kind of have pretty much about the same premise as the original movie with a slight difference. The premise of being that the Mortal Kombat tournament comes to Earthrealm. Few people get chosen to defend it, to fight in the tournament, and these fighters are, of course, you could say like the OGs, the originals of Mortal Kombat, the characters that we all have grown to love, the characters that are the most popular out of the thousands of characters that Mortal Kombat has created. But other than that, the trailer starts off with Sub-Zero is considered a fugitive. I mean, he's like on the loose, on the hunt. Sonya Blade with Jax, of course, you know, they work in the law enforcement. They're over here hunting him down, and they're looking for him in Brazil. They mentioned that he's been running around in Brazil, and I'm like thinking, okay, what the hell is Sub-Zero doing in Brazil? Like one of the hottest countries, and then he's obviously cold as ice, and he's over there just chilling in Brazil. But the fact that Sonya has to explain to Cole Young, this new character that is being introduced, and it lets me know that he somehow gets involved. It's not really clear how he does get involved into this police investigation, but I think it's more of a personal involvement. And right off the bat, Jax is like almost shooting Sub-Zero, and then he just freezes that bullet as soon as he fires it, and then freezes his arms and then just snaps him like a chopstick. And what I really like about this scene is that immediately, as soon as I saw this scene, I was like, that looks like Steve Harvey. Jax is over here looking like a young Steve Harvey, and then next thing you know, everyone is saying the same thing. I thought I was the only one. I thought I was the only one that was going to say that, but no, I knew I wasn't tripping. Everyone's saying that he looks like Steve Harvey right there. Other than Cole's origin story, this is also giving a bit of a backstory to Scorpion, which I believe, according to what I have heard and read, that the first 10-15 minutes of the movie or so is the origin of Scorpion. We're kind of giving him a bit of a background story as well, where the Lin Kuei clan murders all his family, murders his homeland, or I don't know what. I'm not really too sure. I'm not an expert in the whole MK mythology, but that's the little bit that I do know from the video games. So all his family is murdered, all his clan, I don't even know who these people are. They're all murdered, and you know, he goes on he just defends his home, and that's where he picks up, you know, the weapon. I guess that's where we have the origin of the weapon. And it's kind of creative but funny at the same time, because like we all know that he's just known for throwing the spear. You know, it's just spear that either comes out of his hand or just some sort of claw that comes out, some sort of mechanism. And I feel like they're just showing, okay, Scorpion was looking for a weapon. Okay, Scorpion was like, okay, shoot, I gotta defend myself. There's a bunch of dudes. I gotta look around. How can I defend myself? Oh, there's a spear and a rope. Okay, I guess I'll use this, and just start chopping dudes' heads off with it. And next thing you know is the birth of the spear, and then he tells people to get over here. And then we have Cole Young, this new character introduced into this MK long list of characters, but he's just very confused. That's all he is. He just looks confused throughout this whole trailer. I feel like he has this loss of identity. He doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know where he comes from. He kind of just reminded me of, you know, the new Star Wars films that came out a few years ago. He reminds me of Rey. That's who he reminds me of. He's just exactly how Rey doesn't know who she is. She doesn't know where her parents are, who is she related to, but she's somehow involved into what's going on. That's kind of what's going on with Cole. And then he has the birthmark of the dragon, the MK logo. And then they're saying that this is a birthmark, but it's like, what are the chances that this birthmark just somehow is picture perfect perfectly round, and it looks like a dragon, the logo. And they're saying it's a birthmark, but then you hear Jax telling him, no, it's not a birthmark, you've just been chosen. And I'm like, okay, out of all the people, why him? So there's somehow a connection. And thank you for that dumb girl who's, I don't know if that's his little sister, who explains what a birthmark is as if the word itself just doesn't say it at all.
The birthmark?
What do you mean?
He was born with it.
What?
Now, if you look closely at the trailer, he does have some sort of connection to Scorpion because he's looking in the bathroom and then he starts... At first, I thought it was himself. I thought it was a image of himself, but in like a sort of possessed, demonic type of way. But then, so he's seeing Scorpion, so he has some sort of connection. There's a link between that. There are theories that that is Scorpion's son, that Cole is his long lost son, which that would make sense in order for him to be connected to all this, if that is Scorpion's son. But I believe, this is my theory. Now, again, I don't know the mythology. This is just me making up theories. Maybe he is Scorpion's son, but maybe when the whole Lin Kuei and Sub-Zero's clan or whatever attacked Scorpion's people, they just somehow forgot or just didn't know that he had a kid. Or maybe, I feel like maybe when the attack was going on, Hanzo Hasashi, Scorpion's, you know, character, his actual name, he somehow hid his son somewhere in order to protect him, because that was probably like his only child or something. And after everybody was dead, you know, they killed Scorpion because Scorpion is actually like the Scorpion that we know is just a resurrected form of the actual character himself. So maybe he hit him and they didn't know that they left him. And then once Sub-Zero found out that there was a last descendant, then he's probably gonna hunt Cole down, and that's how Cole gets involved in this whole dilemma. And that maybe that's how this whole rivalry between Scorpion and Sub-Zero started. I mean, that's probably not the original rivalry, but that's probably the way that they're gonna introduce this rivalry in this, hopefully a cinematic universe. But I feel like maybe that's a possible way they're gonna introduce the rivalry and the whole premise of the movie and the whole involvement of all these characters for this movie franchise. It just makes more sense instead of just making a movie with a whole bunch of fight scenes and saying, yeah, okay, yeah, here are these characters. They're just gonna fight in a tournament called Mortal Kombat because whoever loses gets the world destroyed and that's it. No, there has to be more of a personal connection, of a personal involvement with all these characters in this whole dilemma. Now, at first, I thought that Cole was Johnny Cage. I really thought it was him just before they even mentioned who he was, just the shot of him walking into the gym. I thought it was like a young Johnny Cage, but I don't think he's in this movie. Just from the trailer, again, I'm going just based off what I see in the trailer. I don't think he's in the movie. And my guess, my opinion is that he's probably not in this movie because in the original, he was like the skeptic, the only one that was skeptic, saying, oh, this is just a bunch of BS. Like, this isn't real. You guys are all crazy. Y'all on crack. Just makes no sense to me. But I feel like they wanted Cole to be that skeptic, the one that doesn't believe. But then later on, he's going to find out the truth, that all this is real. And his dad is over here, you know, dead, but came back to life. This person that he's seeing. So I feel like they just wanted him. They wanted Cole to be that skeptic. They probably didn't want two people. But maybe that's why they didn't involve him. But Johnny Cage, I feel like he is necessary because he's kind of like that comic relief, the comic relief out of all this dark, serious tone, especially this tone that they're going for. And this guy Cole, honestly, I don't see much from him. I don't know if they're just trying to just keep it real low key. They're not trying to reveal too much about him other than he's confused. But just from the trailer, he's like the least interesting character out of everybody. And I want to go into this shot right here where he's looking at his hands. And, you know, he's an MMA fighter, so he has all these bandages wrapped around his hands. But the fact that they're yellow, out of all the colors they could have chosen, they put yellow. Usually they're white or black or something. So I feel like that was like a little hint that he is related to Scorpion, or he's being haunted by these images of Scorpion because he is linked to him. And, you know, Scorpion's color is yellow, so what are the chances? Other than that, we have all the familiar characters that we know, like Kano. Kano just, I feel like he's probably like the comic relief in this because he's over here laughing that he's ripping someone's heart out, and He reminds me of Conor McGregor. Like, I feel like they just put Conor McGregor in Mortal Kombat. They should have just put Conor McGregor, honestly. He just looks so much like him and talks like him. I mean, I don't even know. I'm not sure if Kano is actually like Irish in the game and not just the movie, or I don't even know what accent that is, but it just sounds Irish to me. Shang Tsung, I miss the old actor. I forgot his name, but I miss the old actor. I really did like him for the role of Shang Tsung because has that face. I don't know, just something about him. I just really like him for Shang Tsung. This new guy who I remember from Dark Knight, you know, Mr. Lau is over here making calculations, but now he is Shang Tsung. He just has long hair. I feel like they could have made him more creative. They could have made him look different, or I don't know if that was the look or that they were going for like Asian Chinese times or something, but he just looks like Jet Li to me from The Mummy Returns. I mean, really, like if you put them side by side, they look exactly alike, and not because they're Chinese or anything. Shao Kahn's statue is shown here, and probably it looks like it's in Outworld or something, but I don't know if he's actually in the movie or it's just like a setup. Might be just a setup for future movies, for a sequel, maybe even the whole universe, hopefully. And then there's this scene where it appears like some creature was invisible and he's slowly revealing himself. And that's obviously Reptile, because we all know he has that ability. He's like walking on some pipes or on the roof or something. And I immediately thought, okay, that's Reptile. And then if you just really look at the fight with Kano, when he just shoves his arm inside this, you know, this creature's body and takes his heart right before he takes the heart out. I don't know if that's Reptile. He looks like a mixture of he looks a little bit more like a wolf, just like some hairy wolf. But he could be that lizard. I don't know if they're just going with a different look, but it could be Reptile. I'm not really quite sure. And Melina over here, you know, she has that, you know, all her messed up teeth, bloody open mouth. She's over here licking the sword, looking like she just ate like a whole bunch of chicken wings. And Goro, my man Goro, there's nothing really much to say about Goro, because it's Goro. I mean, what else can you do? He's just gonna scream and beat the crap out of everybody. I mean, at least it's just not some huge animatronics, you know, thing. I mean, we know it's CGI, but, you know, we have the technology now, so at least it won't be that bad. But, I mean, there's not really much expectations you could say from Goro. He's just going to scream and just beat the hell out of everybody. Now, some small little details I think can really make the difference in this movie. For example, I was watching the interview where the director, you know, breaks down the trailer for it, and he says that they're actually real locations. It's not just some CGI or green screen or whatever when it comes to showing the locations like Earth or Outworld, all these different realms where we see these fighters walking in the trailer. So they're actual real locations, and I really like that because, I mean, I know we have the technology to make whatever world we want as our background, but I really hate it when it's just a movie just uses too much CGI, because obviously you can tell, even when it's really well rendered, you could tell when it's not actual on location. So I really appreciated that fact that they use real life locations instead of a bunch of CGI like in the originals. Hiroyuki Sanada, the actor that plays Scorpion, he actually helped the director to design the costumes for Scorpion. I'm not sure if it was just for Scorpion or for the rest of the cast. But since he is he is Japanese, so he helped him lay it down of how Japanese attire will actually looks like. And I really like that because that adds a more realistic tone to it instead of just putting on some yellow rose with some skin tight leggings on. So with all that being said, when it comes to storytelling, story development, I'm not expecting too much, just because of the fact that it is a video game and we haven't had much success when it comes to video games being turned into movies. But I'm rooting for it. I'm definitely rooting for it. I'm not expecting it to be a great story, because I feel like they're just going to focus more on the aspect of that it is a video game. They're just going to focus more on like the fighting, on some cool fighting scenes, on the gore. And yes, I know we want that because that's what makes up Mortal Kombat. But if they can nail everything down, from the special effects to also the storytelling, then they will make history for movies that were adaptations from video games. They could make history. Warner Brothers and all these other studios, MK, They will make history if they nail everything down. If they just don't focus, if their focus is not just the effects of fighting, they will make history. And once again, I like that the whole idea of the story is a rivalry. This rivalry that involves the introduction of new characters, the rivalry of Scorpion Sub-Zero, is something that's going to be the core center of a lot of involvement. And again, I like that because it's a personal issue. It's not just a movie that's being made and just a bunch of people fighting. There's a personal tone to it. It just makes it much more realistic, much like the originals, where the focus was on kind of Liu Kang. You could say was like the main character because he was on a hunt for his brother, and you know that involved Shang Tsung. But in this one, we see that it's more of a rivalry. I think it's a good way to introduce all these Mortal Kombat characters, and hopefully it becomes a movie universe, a movie franchise, not just a bunch of fighting, like I said. So the Mortal Kombat trailer, if you've seen it, what did you think about it? Go ahead and let me know in the comments below. Do you agree with my theory? Do you disagree? Do you have your own theories of who Cole Young could be? Of how is the rivalry between Scorpion and Sub-Zero? What do you think is the actual cause of this rivalry, other than what you already know from the video games? But what do you think they're gonna add on? Do you prefer the original over this new one? Once you've seen it, what do you think? If you like this video, go ahead and consider subscribing. Go ahead and like this video, share it if you want. And out of all the Mortal Kombat video games, which one is your favorite? Which one is hands down the one that you will play, the one that you will beat the crap out of anybody that comes your way? Go ahead and let me know. Turn those post notifications on so you won't miss a video. And that is all for today, and we'll see you next time.